Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Productivity Boosters and Stress Reducers podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Heeb, and I can't thank you enough for listening in. Each episode, I will discuss a new tip or trick that will help you to live a productive and efficient life, professionally and personally. If you're ready to find your productivity rhythm, relieve stress, and meet your goals faster, then this is the podcast for you. This podcast is sponsored by Your Choice Concierge, created to make your life easier by providing flexible hourly personal and professional assistance. Let us handle your busy tasks so you can focus on what's important. You can learn more about Your Choice Concierge by clicking the link in the description. Today's topic is one that completely changed the way I think about productivity. We're talking about creating a not to-do list. Most people have heard of a to-do list. Hopefully, you have one sitting on your desk right now, because how does anyone function without one? I wouldn't be able to accomplish half of what I need to do without a list. But here's something different I want you to think about. What if the reason you never feel caught up isn't because your to-do list is too long? It's because your not to-do list doesn't exist. Because productivity isn't just about deciding what deserves your attention. It's equally about deciding what doesn't deserve your attention. So, today we're going to dive into why your biggest productivity breakthrough might not come from learning another time management technique. It might come from giving yourself permission to stop doing things that no longer deserve your time, energy, or expertise. We'll discuss the research behind decision fatigue, opportunity cost, delegation, perfectionism, and attention management. I'll also give you practical exercises, so by the end of this episode, you'll be able to create your own not to do list. So let's jump in. Most of us grew up believing that productive people simply do more. More meetings, more emails, more projects, more commitments, more responsibilities, more hustle. We tend to celebrate people who are always busy. But being busy and being productive are actually two very different things. According to research from the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, countries with the longest working hours, cough, cough, the United States is one of them, are often not the most productive. Productivity tends to increase when people work smarter rather than longer. Think about that. Working more hours doesn't automatically equal better results. In fact, it often creates diminishing returns. Harvard Business Review has actually published multiple studies showing that constantly switching between tasks and staying busy with multiple things decreases your productivity and increases errors. And researchers estimate it can take around 23 minutes to fully regain your focus after an interruption. Imagine losing focus 10 times a day. That's potentially several hours of productive work disappearing. And it's not because you're lazy, but because your attention keeps getting hijacked. So, if doing more isn't the answer, then what is? The answer begins with subtraction. Every time you say yes to one thing, you're automatically saying no to something else. This concept is called opportunity cost, and it's a fundamental principle in economics. Every decision has a cost. Think about it this way. If you spend 2 hours organizing digital files, then those 2 hours cannot be spent on other things like growing your business, playing with your kids, exercising, relaxing, working on a passion project, meeting with clients. And of course, that's just to name a few. The list goes on. A lot of people tend to forget that your time is finite, your energy is finite, your attention is finite. So every unnecessary task steals from something more valuable. This is where many entrepreneurs, and honestly, many of us in general, will get stuck. We keep asking, what else should I add? Instead of asking, what should I remove? So let's talk about some real life examples to help bring some clarity. Imagine there are two business owners. Business owner A spends 45 minutes scheduling appointments, 30 minutes organizing email, 45 minutes creating invoices, 1 hour shopping for office supplies. That's over 3 hours. But business owner B delegates those tasks, and those same 3 hours are spent meeting with new clients, developing new services, building relationships, creating marketing content. Now, the difference may not be noticeable right away, but by the end of the year, that difference becomes enormous. But here's the real question. If delegation is so helpful, why don't more people do it? It's usually because of four beliefs. Belief number one is I can do it faster myself. And sometimes that's true. Like today, it would be faster to just do it myself as opposed to taking the time to show someone else the steps. But it's so important to remember that teaching someone once, taking that extra time once, saves countless hours later. Belief number two is no one will do it as well as I do. This is actually perfectionism talking. And research by Dr. Brene Brown and other organizational psychologists consistently shows perfectionism is associated with burnout, anxiety, and decreased innovation. I've actually done a podcast episode about perfectionism and how it can hinder productivity and how it's often the enemy of progress. Now, check it out if you want to dive deeper down that rabbit hole. Okay, belief number three is it's easier if I just do it. Again, today it might be, but next week, next month, next year, probably not. Belief number four is I should be able to handle everything. This one is especially dangerous because it confuses independence with strength. The most successful leaders don't do everything. They build support systems. And that's will lead us to one of my favorite questions. Whenever something lands on your plate, I want you to first pause and ask yourself, am I the only person who can do this? Notice I didn't ask, can I do it? Of course I can. Of course you can. Most capable people can do almost anything given enough time. The better question is, should you? If someone else can handle it, then it belongs on your not to do list. Now, if nothing comes to mind when you're thinking about starting that not to do list, don't panic. You're not alone. A lot of people struggle with this concept. So I want to give some practical examples of things you might delegate. Scheduling appointments, running errands, ordering supplies, managing your inbox, travel planning, data entry, bookkeeping, research, gift purchasing, household management, laundry, meal planning, and coordinating vendors. Of course, that list could go on. There's also tasks to completely eliminate that can go on your not to do list. This could include things like meetings without agendas, checking your email every 5 minutes, scrolling social media during work hours, saying yes to every request, and doing favors that create resentment. And lastly, your not to do list should include tasks that you can automate. So, some examples of those tasks include bill payments, appointment reminders, calendar scheduling, recurring grocery deliveries, online ordering, email filters, templates, and recurring subscriptions. And again, that list could go on. But now that we've covered some things to include on your not to do list, let's talk about why this list is so important. Something fascinating that many people don't realize is that your brain actually likes having fewer decisions to make. Psychologist Roy Baumeister introduced the concept of decision fatigue, suggesting that making repeated decisions throughout the day can reduce your mental energy and make later choices more difficult. There is broad agreement that reducing unnecessary decisions helps preserve attention and cognitive resources. Think about your day and all the decisions you make without even thinking about it. What should I wear? What should I eat? Should I answer this email? Should I fold laundry now? Should I call back? Should I go to the store? Should I clean first? Should I? Should I? Should I? By the afternoon, your brain is exhausted. Successful people often reduce unnecessary decisions. For example, Steve Jobs became known for wearing a consistent outfit, eliminating the decision of what to wear most days. Now, the point isn't that you should wear the same clothes every day. I realize that's not practical for most of us. The point is that protecting your decision making capacity is vital to your success. A not to do list helps you accomplish exactly that. I want everyone listening to try this simple exercise. Grab a sheet of paper and draw 3 columns. In column 1, write down everything you do in a typical week. Make sure you write absolutely everything. In column 2, ask yourself, does this require my expertise? Either yes or no for everything you listed in column 1. And in column 3, ask yourself, can this be delegated, automated, or eliminated? You may be shocked at the answers. Many people discover that nearly 30 to 50% of their weekly tasks don't actually require them personally. And this is bigger than productivity. Your not to do list protects more than your calendar. It protects your mental health, your relationships, your creativity, your energy, your patience, and your sleep. Because every unnecessary commitment creates invisible stress, and stress compounds. Research from the American Psychological Association consistently finds that chronic stress is associated with reduced concentration, poor memory, lower productivity, and increased risk of burnout. So, removing unnecessary obligations isn't being lazy, it's protecting your capacity. Of course, I couldn't record this episode with talking a little bit more about delegation, because this is exactly why I started Your Choice Concierge. Over the years, I've met countless business owners and busy families who all say the same thing. I wish I had more time. But what they really mean is, I wish I wasn't spending so much time on things that someone else could do. Sometimes the biggest productivity boost isn't learning another app or buying another planner or finding another productivity hack. Sometimes it's deciding that you don't have to do it all yourself. Delegating doesn't mean you're incapable. It means you're intentional. It means you understand that your time has value. When you hand off tasks that don't require your unique expertise, you're creating space for things that only you can do. Whether that's growing your business, being present with your family, or simply taking a well-earned break. That's not selfish. That's smart resource management. Hopefully, after listening to this episode, you realize there are tasks you're ready to put on your not to do list and hand off. And if that's the case, I would love to help. At Your Choice Concierge, we provide flexible personal assistance, administrative support, and virtual assistance, hourly with no long-term commitments, so you can spend more time on what matters most. Until next time, remember, you don't have to do everything to accomplish great things. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is decide what you'll stop doing. That's all for this week's episode of Productivity Boosters and Stress Reducers. Be sure to check back soon for our next episode. I'll be discussing digital detox strategies that don't feel extreme. If you want to learn more about creating a not to do list, have feedback about this episode, or a specific topic you'd like to hear about in the future, please email me at info@yourchoice-concierge.com. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again for listening. I'm Stephanie Heeb, and I hope you'll join me next time for more tips and tricks to live a productive and efficient life, professionally and personally. Thanks again to our sponsor, Your Choice Concierge. Until next time, productive people.